Welcome back, Patriots, to the Ball Brad Show. It is Monday, June 17th. Holy moly, folks, the year is flying by. Hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. Couldn't be more than happy to spend this fun Monday morning with the fellow Bald Brad Army and the Patriot community that we've created here on YouTube and Rumble and other social media outlets. Folks, Joe Biden has froze again on stage with Barack Obama. He has this massive amnesty operation that he's going to put forward. We got updates on the economy, on crime, all the craziness we're going to give you today. But before we jump into any of that, support the show by hitting that like and subscribe button, leaving us a comment down below, supports the channel greatly. And more than that, watching all the way through is the way that we can get our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. Patriots, I see in the live chat. With that being said, let's jump right into the news of the day. With Biden appearing to freeze as to be led off the stage by Barack Obama at Mega Bucks LA fundraiser. This is not something you want to show in front of your donors, of you freezing up like you're Mitch McConnell. Just so we got the tape of it. And you let me know what you think, because Democrats are saying on this clip that what you're about to see isn't real. That Joe Biden didn't freeze up here and that Barack Obama did not lead him off the stage. So you be the one to judge. Here we go. I blocked the music so we don't want to get copyrighted, because you know the libs are always coming after us. As you see, David Hogg right there says, for the record, this did not happen and is a total lie. This comes from a post that was going viral yesterday regarding the New York Post. So there he is, leading him off the stage. Notice, look, I'm not a fan of Barack Obama by any means, but the way that he walks compared to Joe Biden, vastly different. There you go. Escort him right off the stage. There he goes. Nap, time for Joe. Okay. So again, we were told by a lot of people that this did not happen. So left-wing influencers went out and say the following video that you just saw didn't happen. It didn't happen showing Biden freezing up. It didn't happen that Barack Obama led him off the stage. I told you this was going to happen, did I not? We've been talking about this for a long time, that the closer we get to the election, they're going to ramp up this whole gaslighting operation, saying Joe Biden's fit, he's sharp, he knows everything that's going on, he's fully aware. No, he's not. He hasn't been for 4+ years. David Hogg, quote, for the record, this did not happen. And it's a total lie. You're a bunch of liars. Didn't you know that? What you see with your own eyes isn't really happening. You got this other knucklehead. MAGA is lying again. The new lie is that Biden had to be led off stage by Barack Obama and that he froze. But that is completely false. You guys let me know in the live chat. What did you see? Because I saw Joe Biden freeze up again, and then Barack Obama trying to say, hey, come on, Joey. We got to go now. Time to get off stage. Brian Tyler Cohen, right-wing media, is becoming so desperate that they're trying to make up fake stories out of thin air. Here we go again. We're just making it up, you guys. We're just pulling it out of thin air. We're pulling it out of our you-know-what. You want to know who actually makes stuff up out of thin air? Karine Jean-Pierre. Joe Biden. Joe Biden goes, I drove 18-wheelers. I was out there on the streets with Dr. King fighting for black people. I was in the Girl Scouts. No, you weren't any of those things, Joe. He goes, I was a professor at UPenn teaching about the Second Amendment just the other day. Just never happened. It never happened. Propaganda, garbage, pissing into the wind because New York City will still vote for Biden bigly. What does that say about New York City? What does that say about Democrat-ran cities? Oh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Nothing remotely close to this actually happened. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable that somehow we could see things and the Democrats either don't see it or they do see it and they're lying, and they're the ones that are gaslighting. And I think it's the latter one. I think that they see everything that we see, because how could you not? And they don't want to believe it, and they're gaslighting the rest of the American public. I mean, this just comes days after him freezing up at another meeting with a bunch of black people and listening to music, and he froze up again because there ain't nothing going up here. So I guess he reportedly raised $30 million for being a complete dodo bird. And if you recall, Trump raised $50 million. So please don't think there's this huge red wave, you guys. There possibly could be, but we need to get out there and vote. And today's theme of this episode is there's an operation in place at the Democrat Party to sit there and rig this 2024 election by putting forth mass amnesty, and we will get there. But like I mentioned, if that plan doesn't work for them, they need to work in conjunction with the mainstream media like they did in 2020 and kind of in 2016, where they gave Hillary Clinton kind of the spotlight. 2020, they sat there and gave Joe Biden the spotlight and lied in front of all of you, like, oh, the Hunter Biden laptop's not real, it's Russian disinformation, all these things. Well, they're doing it again. They were doing it again. So here's a montage of just right now. We're still like a few months out of the election right now, saying, Joe Biden's sharp, it's the best he's ever been. Here's a cut.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
She knows so long as she was 9.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
President Biden has a photographic memory. His understanding and mastery of a complicated geopolitical.
I waited for all of you. I haven't seen it. I waited. He said Biden has a photographic memory.
Situation. Remarkable.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
I was sitting, 2 feet from him across the table, and he was, intense.
Have trouble walking sometimes? Yeah, so did FDR. He wanted GD war.
But he's totally focused. He's very sharp.
They say he's sharp in meetings and so on.
Very lucid, very well informed.
Biden is stately, and he comes with gravitas.
There hasn't been, as far as I know, a single claim that Biden made a mistake.
Ageism is an issue. Americans have a rich history of holding people's physical characteristics against them. Okay, you can ask African Americans.
He's older. That doesn't mean that he is unfit, and there's a lot of ageism there.
Now, this age attack, this obsession by the right.
Joe Biden may not be able to speak for himself the way that he used to.
They want to think to take on government if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, and that's him lying around.
I think people should be speaking up for Joe Biden.
Americans and reporters in the media are just judging him by a physical appearance, and it's horribly unfair. Age is an asset.
He showed exactly how with it he is.
The flip side of this coin is that he has a tremendous amount of wisdom and experience.
Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No.
More wild speculation from a bunch of people who have probably never been in a room with Joe Biden and certainly don't have medical degrees that I'm aware of.
You don't get paid for performance to be president. The job is not a job of endurance. I don't see Donald Trump out bike riding like Joe Biden.
It's the Hillary's email. All they have is that he's old.
He can clear a dementia bar, and that's probably a win.
The media are not fair, and they're getting less and less fair, and things are frightening. You have Wall Street Journal running a horribly sourced piece saying that Biden is unfit.
Dubious Wall Street Journal report about the president's acuity.
Shoddy story by the Wall Street Journal questioning Biden's mental fitness.
Wall Street Journal story had a lot of flaws, as you said. But Sinclair, they didn't do any original reporting. They didn't follow up. They didn't do any work.
The hero of today is Hersh Goldberg Poland, and is still... He is not here with us, but he's still being held by Hamas.
But a huge part of the Mueller report talks about Russian disinformation tactics. And one of the themes this election cycle is that Joe Biden is too old to lead. And so everyone is seizing upon this. And it is a classic disinformation tactic. And I think the best thing that we can do is to prepare the American people for this false narrative.
There you have it. Does it get any more clear than that? We bring the receipts, folks. Look, we do a little bit of banter, a lot of rants here, a lot of yelling, and a lot of emotion, but we bring the receipts, baby. And I told you, they're going to sit there and tell you, well, Joe Biden's fine, he's fit, he's all there, he's with it. And then they're going to say that if you say that he isn't, that you're the one that's spreading misinformation. You're the one that's spreading disinformation. Dude, I'm telling you, we live ass backwards. We live ass backwards. So there's the debate coming up, right? And Joe Biden's not with it. And so the left have the balls to say that the debate is unfair for Joe Biden because our expectations are too high for him. No, this is not satire. This is real.
I do have to ask, though, I mean, this is all thrown into sharp relief when the two men are on stage debating, right? And it already feels like, the first presidential debate is set for June 27th. It already feels like the bar that is set for Biden to clear is so much substantially higher than the one Trump has to clear, which is literally, is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words coming out of his mouth? Setting aside what the words actually are. And I wonder if there's any...
Wait, can we go back? Again, we always save these gems for real-time reactions. Did she just say the bar was set high, and then she told us what the bar was? That he's alive? Can we go back? I wasn't 100% if I heard that right. Hold on.
7th, it already feels like the bar that is set for Biden to clear is so much substantially higher than the one Trump has to clear, which is literally, is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words coming out of his mouth? Setting aside what the words actually are. And I wonder if there's any way for Biden to overcome what seems like a structural disadvantage on, in the weeks leading up to what's going to be a pretty important inflection point in this campaign.
Yeah, Alex, I think that's an important question. We don't know the answer yet. The challenge with Trump, running against Trump for Biden, is that it's not really a head-to-head contest in which they're both being judged.
Dude, yo, you can't make it up. The bar is set so high for Joe that the fact that if he stays living on stage, he won. Now, there is truth to the fact of us setting our expectations for Joe just to not crap his pants, lose his train of thought, drip into a drip tray, drooling, all these things, just breathing correctly. I don't think that's a high expectation. I think because it's such a low expectation that we're setting for this guy, he just has to walk on stage and basically make it an hour and a half that he's going to be successful. And so when you set the bar so low and he meets it, like he did with the State of the Union, I'm not saying it was a good speech, but y'all understand what I mean, is that we were just trying to see if the guy would pass out, drool, get Ball's palsy or something. I don't know. It's just like, he's going to meet the expectation. And so half of voters expect Joe Biden to forget where he is during the debate. So when President Joe Biden takes the debate stage with Donald Trump on June 27th, I thought it was July. Is it June 20? Are we doing it in 10 days? Should we go live? Let me know. Holy crap. I was thinking July 11th for some reason. 49% of voters expect him to forget where he is. Jesus. Look, I kind of do as well, but I also know that they're probably going to dope this guy up full of something. The poll conducted by JL Partners surveyed 500 people. So this survey is lacking, you guys. You want to see a minimum of 1,000 people. So 500, these numbers could be kind of wonky. Likely general election voters on June 10th to 11th, most of them said that they expect Trump to win the upcoming presidential debate. 70% of those surveyed expect the 81-year-old Biden to mess up his words. 49 expect him to forget where he is. 41 expect him to walk off the wrong side of the stage. Oh, that might be the best one. 39%. Jesus. Dude, those are big numbers. 39% predicted Biden would win the debate. And you know what's interesting? That same 39%, right? He has about a 40% approval rating. So maybe the same people aren't willing to change their idea of who Joe Biden really is. The fact that he's a liar, he's a manipulator, he's a terrible politician, he's a terrible president. They're not willing to budge on it. And quite frankly, I don't know what they're willing to budge on in terms of information that they need to swing a vote to somebody else or not voting for Joey at all. 50%, including 13% of Democrats, said they expect Trump to win according to the poll. So 61% still think that he will tell a rambling story. Absolutely. Just make something up as he normally does. I sat there and was a Border Patrol agent in the 1975 Operation Eagle Storm. Like, none of that was real, but Joey, for some reason, think it is. So what are they going to do here? Because they're in a tight pinch, right? Joey's not going to get better. He's not going to sit there and start getting like a exponential increase in terms of cognitive ability. He's deteriorating. We're too close to the election for anything for him to put forward to actually solve something. I think it's a little bit too late for literally anything. And so he's kind of effed. And so what do they need to do here? Because a lot of people are just going towards Donald Trump. And so how do they get around that? That's the theme of today's episode. How are they going to rig this election? How are they going to sit there and get votes that they don't currently have? Well, non-citizens are getting voter registration forms across the U.S., and Republicans are trying to stop it. Weird, but don't worry, you guys. We're a threat to democracy. Don't worry. We're making all of this up like always. But what do we do here on the show? We bring the what? We bring the receipts. So how non-citizens are getting registration forms across the U.S. and how Republicans are trying to stop it. Let me go ahead and fix this side screen here for y'all. There we go. So welfare offices and other agencies in 49 states, holy lordy, are providing voter registration forms to migrants without requiring proof of citizenship. Huh? Would you look at that? I was told this wasn't happening for years. I was called a conspiracy theorist by the left. I was told that I was spreading misinformation. Bald Brad was spreading misinformation, leading Republicans and conservatives to call for swift federal action to stop the handouts. Every state but Arizona, which recently passed a law barring the practice on state but federal forms, gives applicants for either welfare benefits, driver license, or in other cases, mail-in ballot voter registration forms without demanding proof of citizenship. Huh, weird. I know. We all know what's going on here, but people are okay with this. There is currently no requirement on federal voting forms to provide proof of U.S. citizenship. But illegals aren't voting, you guys. No, they're not voting. Sure. Okay. Yeah, Joe Biden, 82 million votes, really? Joe Biden couldn't fill a parking lot. I'm not exaggerating. The dude couldn't fill a high school gymnasium. Half of it he couldn't fill. The people that did fill it were just staffers. It was like Biden's close family members. There's probably a few Chinese, Ukrainian, and Romanians in there that gave him money, but, you know, he couldn't fill that. And you're telling me 82 million votes, really? Okay, sure. This is going to play into the big theme again, because get ready. Mass amnesty is coming, folks. Don't be surprised if it happens, because there is rumors out there, we'll get to it, that Joe Biden's going to put forth an executive action here very soon, like within the coming days, the coming weeks. There is currently no requirement on federal voting forms to provide proof of U.S. citizenship, though it is illegally to falsely claim one is a citizenship or citizen. Who cares? Nothing's been done. Nothing's even been done since the last election. Nobody looked into anything. The Supreme Court didn't look into it. The federal judges didn't look into it. The state judges didn't look into it. Nobody looked into anything. So why would you not sit there and fill it out? Nobody's done jack shit on this stuff. And it pisses me off because it's been going on for years and years. I don't care if somebody illegally voted for Republican or Democrat. I just want the ish figured out. And these stupid ass politicians that suck on both sides of the aisle won't do anything about it. So now, because Joe Biden wants to sit there and give these people the right to vote and allow them to come into the country illegally, what do we have here? Well, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner said over the weekend that the U.S. faces, it's unbelievable, faces an extremely high terrorist threat because Joe Biden's open border policies. Lovely. So he's going to allow terrorists to pour across the border. He's going to allow gang members, violent ones, to pour across the border. Fentanyl that's killing people. Fentanyl's killing people every year more than actual wars are. It's killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, and Joe Biden's allowing it to happen. He's allowing sex trafficking to take place, drug trafficking to take place, and amidst all of that, he wants to give these people amnesty. We don't even know who they are. I mean, we saw from Border Patrol agents to the chief Border Patrol going, we don't really vet these people. How could you? We don't know who the hell they are. So Turner made the remarks during a Sunday interview on CBS News Face the Nation while talking about the 8 ISIS terrorists. And it wasn't like they were in the same room, right? They were spread out all across the United States, and they did a sting operation, meaning they tracked these guys that were in the process of planning a terrorist attack. And the Democrats go, 4 more years of Joey. Fabulous job. Joey sucks ass. And Joey's going to get freaking Americans killed, and quite frankly is getting Americans killed by allowing all these drugs to pour across the border and allowing these illegal immigrants to come across the border and kill Americans. Joe Biden is, you know what? We do it every week. Do I not repeat myself all the time? Joey's creating jobs, except not jobs for Americans, jobs for the cartel, jobs for terrorists. It is wild stuff that these Democrats are allowing to happen. Turner, who has access to classified information, said that he could not confirm or deny any details about the individuals who were arrested, of course, because the FBI is probably trying to hide it. You also have the House Intel Dem concedes undocumented immigrants pose a national threat to our national security. Well, there you have it. Finally, one of them admits it. You got to twist his arm. I mean, it just took, like 15 million illegal aliens to pour across the border, including terrorists and drugs, to kind of get the guy to wake up. I mean, isn't it astonishing that it took 10 plus million illegal immigrants for the Democrats, some of them, to come out and go, yeah, maybe this is a little bad. The fact that we had to arrest 8 ISIS terrorists, even though we know that there's 50 plus terrorists, according to just DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, in the country. And then we just confirmed the other day that the CIA acknowledges the fact that there's thousands of them in the country. The CIA admitted that there are thousands of terrorists in the United States. Not 50, not 100, not 500, not 1,000. Thousands of terrorists. That comes from CIA operatives where their whole job is to apprehend and go after top tier terrorists. But don't worry, guys. We're making all this up. This is fake news, according to the Democrats. This is fake news, according to the left. It's not happening. It's not real. Well, it's not just that. Fox News Sunday anchor Sharon Bream asked Himes how worried he is about potentially millions of people in this country whose full story is not known, about noting concerns raised by FBI Director Christopher Wray and others. Well, it's not just that, Sharon. I mean, remember the perpetrators of 9/11 pulled off the most spectacular terrorist attack against the United States from inside the United States on student visas. So yes, the fact that there are lots of people who are here on undocumented basis is a threat. And the FBI director is right about that. And the FBI director and the chiefs of all the intelligence community are very, very focused. But fuck it. Let them pour on in. Who cares? Fucking guy's a dweeb. Guy's a dweeb. You got connections to ISIS, huh? Cool. Come on in. But who are you going to vote for? Joey, yeah, you got it. See you later. Have a good time. Himes went on to talk about how the fight between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, as well as tensions with China and Ukraine's years-long conflict against Russia, are affecting the situation at the border. Oh, they're passing the buck on to somebody else, right? There we go. Well, it's climate change, it's China, it's Russia, it's Romania, it's like all these other places. How about you sit there and pass the blame on to Dodo Bird that doesn't have a damn clue what's going on, named Joe Biden? It's astonishing, right? It's astonishing how corrupt these idiots are. And people vote for them. People vote for them. I'm not saying they're just on the Democrat side of the aisle. No. They're on the Republican side too, folks. These people are idiots, and somehow we keep voting them in, which honestly makes us the idiots. Now, I'm not voting for these idiots, but, you know, the day I do, call me an idiot too, please. Well, here you have it. Here you have it. We said it was going to happen. Joey, quite frankly, to give him props, admitted that he was going to do it. I just didn't think he'd have the balls. And you know what? That's my fault, but here's his amnesty. Here we go, folks. Buckle up. Got to wet my whistle a little bit. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below on how bad Joey sucks. The comments do really help, folks, the engagement. Well, Biden preparing, you see it on your screens, to offer what? Here we go, we do. Legal status to undocumented immigrants who have lived in the U.S. for 10 years. Why is he doing this? Because they deserve it, you guys. They deserve it. And for votes. The Biden administration is making plans to announce one of the largest immigration relief programs in recent history. There's a lot of like record breaking going on here. You know, like Joe Biden breaking his own records month after month for apprehensions at the southern border, like month after month for drugs pouring across the border, like record breaking month after month of this or that, you know, record breaking 40-year high inflation, you know, record breaking this in terms of like foreign wars happening all at the same time. I mean, the guy is really she's just a record breaker. We should get him a necklace, you know, and a trophy and maybe a helmet. The Biden administration is making plans to announce one of the largest immigration relief programs in recent history that would offer legal status to hundreds of thousands of immigrants living in the country without proper documents. Lovely. But we'll make sure that we give them everything already. Rental assistance, legal fees, health care, free education. Oh, let's make sure that they get a ballot. Let's make sure they get one of those. But that's not happening. I know I'm going to keep saying this, but we say one thing, we bring the receipts, we show you that it's happening, and then as you saw on your screens, the media comes out and says, none of this is it. Like they're a Jedi or something. These aren't the documents you're looking for. This isn't really happening. This isn't illegal immigration. Like, how much news do we need to come out? Exactly, Marcy. Why don't people wake the F up? I'm right there with you. I don't know what you need. And maybe, honestly, people need a terrible thing to happen to them or a family member for them to wake up that, you know, there's bad people here. So the proposal is known as this. So if you hear somebody talk about it, at least you know the name. Parolee in place would also open up a pathway to permanent legal status and U.S. citizenship for some beneficiaries by removing an obstacle in the U.S. law that prevents those who enter the U.S. illegally from obtaining green cards without leaving the country. Just lovely. Just lovely. Well, it doesn't stop there because DHS Chief Mayorkas questioned on these reports of mass amnesty. So what you see here is, and we'll come back to this, I kind of want to explain it because there's kind of this wish-washy thing with mass amnesty coming in. Joe Biden comes in office, right? And he wasn't really clear on, well, what are we going to do with the illegal immigrants that are already here? And he goes, well, we might give them citizenship, we might not. And I think he was doing that to kind of gauge the waters on his base to see like how they would react. And there wasn't really much reaction at all other than the Republicans, such as myself, you know, getting kind of pissed off with those words. And so then he allows all these people to pour across the border from the time that he said, well, I don't know if I'm going to give mass amnesty. I might, I don't know yet. Allows 10 million people plus to pour across the border. And then he actually did confirm, and we talked about this, what was it, a few months ago, where he literally said himself, I think we saw the tweet and the video, that he wants to give mass amnesty to not just everybody that came prior to his administration, but also under his administration. And so he's come out and said this, but then Republicans are like, well, is he serious about it? Is he actually going to do it? Like, what's really going on here? And that's where you get this coming from of DHS secretaries being questioned on this because people aren't sure. Is it a secret op that he's trying to do? Is he just going to use executive action? So check this out. It's a really weird thing. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, which this guy's an idiot, I think he should be tried for treason, is facing scrutiny over a report that hundreds of thousands of non-citizen asylum seekers had their cases closed without a ruling, ushering in a sort of mass amnesty. So the American people deserve transparency and accountability regarding the administration's handling of immigration and border security. Correct. Remember on day one, this administration comes forward and goes, hey, we're going to give the American people the most transparent administration they've ever seen in their lives, but yet we get the least transparent administration. The current state of affairs at our southern border is unacceptable and demands immediate and effective solutions. So that came, I believe, from Senator Kevin Cramer. You guys ready for this? Over 350,000 asylum cases since 2022 were closed by the administration if the migrants involved did not record any criminal history. What I mean by this and what they mean, so we covered it, is it's just gone. Like their cases just evaporated. They're just here. There's nothing involving these people and stopping them from getting legal status. They're just out there in the ether in the United States because they didn't commit a criminal, they don't have a criminal record. Folks, there could legitimately be somebody from a foreign country that's connected to terrorists that we don't know about because they go by a different name here because they were able to get a passport that has a different name and that they didn't commit any criminal activity here, and then given part of this asylum case to be relinquished, and now they're just roaming the interior of the country and nobody has fucking any data on them and doesn't know who the hell they are. There is a plausible case that could be happening. Shit, dude. This is some wild stuff. And Democrats want 4 more years. We're not going to play it. I'm not going to subject you guys to it, but they want 4 more years. You got to wonder, why has there not been a single White House press briefing in almost 3 weeks now? I'm going to be on the lookout today to see. There should be one today or tomorrow. There's not been a White House press briefing on camera for over 2 weeks. Why? Hunter Biden, you had that whole court case happening. You had Joe Biden acting like a doddering old fool. Doesn't know where the hell he's at, fumbling through his words. You have this mass amnesty. I mean, the amount of stuff that's coming out Karine Jean-Pierre knows she's going to be questioned on it. Are Americans safe? Why are you allowing fentanyl to pour across the border? And then she's going to sit there and spin it and bullshit all of you as if it's not happening. So that's probably one of the reasons why, because she's terrible at her job and they don't want to put her on the podium. Well, you also have this right here. You got Peter, who we've actually thought is doing a pretty good job lately in the White House press briefings. NBC reports mass amnesty scheme to officially be announced this week.
Of U.S. citizens. And new this morning, multiple sources familiar with the White House's plans tell NBC News that President Biden is set to take executive action as early as Tuesday to protect hundreds of thousands.
No, you heard that correctly. No, let me go back. Let me go back, because I want to make this clear, because we bring the what? We bring the, yes, the receipts.
Morning, multiple sources familiar with the White House's plans tell NBC News that President Biden is set to take executive action as early as Tuesday to protect hundreds of thousands of undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens from deportation. And new.
And how's he going to do that? How's he going to do that? Through executive action. So it's a story that's blowing up. And the story, this right here, was also connected to the fact that, again, 49 states are giving illegal immigrants voter registration forms. He is doing it. They're doing the effery again. We said it was going to happen. We had to prepare ourselves the fact that it was going to happen. But they're going to say that it isn't happening. In the same way, you guys, the Russian laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop, that wasn't real either. It's all fake. It's all phony. So you have this massive movement regarding illegal immigration. What is astonishing, do you guys remember in about 2016 when Donald Trump won and that he was called a racist, a bigot for wanting to build a border wall and stop this massive insurgence, this invasion happening at the border that was happening under Barack Obama? Do you remember how he got a lot of pushback and he was a racist? You know what's weird? Is majority of Americans want to deport all illegal immigrants? Like all of a sudden, in a span of like 8 years, it's just the tide has totally shifted. It's no longer racist anymore. But mind you, it was never racist. It was never wrong to protect your borders. In like human history, that was never wrong. Every country that's ever existed has always done that. I mean, shit, it's in fairy tales, for God's sake. Like, it's astonishing how the media grab a hold of this and just totally spin it. And then there's some Americans out there going, yeah, it's fucking racist. No, it wasn't. So you have this massive movement at the border. And because of the executive action that got put in place by Joe Biden, where you can only allow so many illegal aliens to be apprehended at ports of entry, what these illegal aliens are doing is they're going into other avenues that aren't ports of entry to enter the United States. And one of the big ones right now is San Diego. And San Diego's governor, because San Diego is part of the state of California, is Gavin Newsom. And so Gavin Newsom was called out this week by border reporters after he went to the U.S.-Mexico border and claimed that he has deployed resources to deal with President Joe Biden's border crisis. Here we go. See, it's okay for them to bullshit. But, when we actually tell the truth here, we're misinformation. We're conspiracy theorists. We're BS artists. The governor's border message comes as estimates suggest that more than 10 million illegal aliens have entered the U.S. under the administration due to its open border policies. We'll get to that in one bit because that's also fake news. This is also not real, according to Democrats. Oh, I'll show you. We bring the receipts. We bring the receipts. We're back down here at the border. Newsom said it in his selfie video. What a loser. Now we're just down here with the National Guard meeting with customs agents, as well as Border Patrol, talking about our partnerships. We have 390 National Guardsmen and women that have been working particularly as it relates to fentanyl here in the state of California. Well, Gavin, if your freaking party didn't have their heads so far shoved up there, you wouldn't have this problem because you would sit there and build a border wall and figure this ish out so you didn't have fentanyl killing Americans. Newsom blamed Biden's border crisis on the Republican Party. It's all our fault. Donald Trump ran on securing the border twice. Dude, even Donald Trump himself goes, yeah, you wouldn't believe it, man. 3 elections now I'm running on securing the border. Claiming the Republicans were depriving officials of the resources they need to solve the problem. It's the same messaging from the White House. They all have their heads up, Oh, God. Republicans have noted that many of the proposals put forth by Democrats will actually make the problem worse. It's either going to make the problems worse, and we've covered it. Hell, we even showed the plasma TVs during the White House press briefing on how a lot of what they wanted to do was just shipping and moving illegal immigrants to the interior of the country. It didn't solve anything. I mean, this has been going on for 4 years now that we've been covering this every week, probably. We've been probably one of the top channels that have been covering illegal immigration every single week. None of it solves anything. It's just a waste of your taxpayer dollars. It's time for them to stop playing politics, he said. It's time for the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, to stop playing politics and do the right thing. Well, what's the right thing? What is the right thing? Because everything the Democrats are proposing didn't do anything. So he's out there freaking rambling like he always, he might be the next president, you guys. He might actually be running for president because Joe Biden might not make it. So, as I've mentioned, that number of 10 million that we're pushing, you know how I go, yeah, there's easily 20, 25 plus million illegal aliens, more than half the population of our states. No, they're saying this is fake news. They're saying this isn't real. This is just like 3 days ago. Here you go. So Marco Rubio, we covered the interview like a month ago, where he said the number of people in the U.S. illegally is upwards of 20, 25 million, maybe 30 million. So here was his exact quote. If reelected, Donald Trump has said he's willing to build migrant detention camps and deploy the U.S. military to deport more than 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country. And he said it would be the largest deportation operation in American history. Do you support that plan? So he kind of said 11 million, that's outdated. That was the number 10 years ago. We're talking about 20, 25, maybe 30 million. And you know what they said? They said it's not real. There's not 25, 30 million people here. There's not even 20 million people in their mind. Look, they start going through this methodology like, oh, well, you know, if you take the numbers and you subtract by 2, you carry the 1, and, you know, all this stupid stuff. We don't have to be rocket scientists. And you know what? I'm going to take Marco Rubio's numbers on it because the guy has intelligence. He's like one of the main guys on the committee. Look, even if you took the numbers before Joe Biden got in office, we know there was 10 to 15 million already. I mean, I've heard numbers upwards of 20, 25 before Joe Biden came in office. Since he's been in office, there's been 11 million. So how are you going to say that there's not at least 20 million here, but the Democrats, you know, hey, we're all liars, you guys. We're just pulling this stuff out of our you know what. Well, we need Donald Trump back in office, folks. Trump 2024, we got to get out and vote. If you got a neighbor that's not able to get there because they're handicapped, they don't have a mail-in ballot or whatever, you got to sit there and pick them up and cradle them and bring everybody. Bring your friends, your family, your aunts, your uncle. Make a freaking picnic out of it. Bring everybody down there to the polls. You notice that I'm not saying, hey, fill out somebody's ballot for them like the Democrats do. You notice I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying, hey, you know what? Go to the polls with them. Have a fun event out of it. Have a nice Trump cigar, you know? Make some, you know, fun with this whole thing. We need a good VP with Donald Trump. Donald Trump's VP pick is supposedly coming out very, very soon. And now we're really getting the swing of things of who the hell it's going to be. Now, we asked a lot of you, I think it was last week, who you want as Trump's VP. And one of the guys you guys mentioned is right here. We got J.D. Vance is being vetted by Trump's campaign as possible running mate. So the race to determine who will be Donald Trump's running mate this November is continuing to heat up, with former president telling Fox News last week he has sort of a pretty good idea who he will select. Now, I'm right there with you, deplorable, but here's the thing. I really, really want Vivek. Like, I really want Vivek Ramaswamy. The identity of that person remains a mystery, but a number of prospective contenders were recently asked to provide documents to Trump's team as part of a vetting process, including firebrand Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who some insiders say could be the key to flipping working-class Democrat voters in a number of consequential battleground states. I don't know. Nobody truly knows, right? I'm not going to sit there and be like, yo, it's J.D. Vance. We heard rumors and speculations from the inside many, many months ago that it wasn't going to be a guy, that it was actually going to be a woman. And that threw me for a loop because there has not been a lot of kind of women on stage with Donald Trump when he said, hey, on stage is my VP pick. But look, J.D. Vance, sure, whoever. We need somebody that can carry Donald Trump's message and ultimately take that message and be able to reach a lot of other people with it. So Donald Trump speaks in very simplified terms, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think you could reach a lot of people with that. But when he's challenged on those things, Donald Trump is not a politician in the way that, say, Vivek can actually take those words and run with it. You know what I mean? He can go in a lot more detail. He can connect it to other things. I think he is the prime pick, and a lot of people love him. A lot of people want him. So there's this video clip here of Donald Trump in Detroit, Michigan. And he floats this idea of not J.D. Vance, but asking, you guys want Byron Donalds to be vice president. Byron's not a bad pick. We like Byron here on the show. But also, one thing I want to show here is not so much of Byron Donalds being the VP pick, because we kind of heard rumors about that already, but the fact that he's talking about crime, and Detroit, Michigan has a lot of crime. So here we go.
When we talk about this, you have a lot of dollars in the black community, and they don't keep it. I think one of the biggest problems that I see is the crime. They have to stop the crime. If they stop the crime, you're going to see more and more stores sprout. And we're losing them in other communities, too, where there's crime. You see empty stores. You see them all over. You see big stores they moved in 10 years ago. They spent millions of dollars to build it, and now they're leaving. And these are not necessarily black communities. In many cases, they're not at all. But where there's crime, there's empty stores, and you don't keep the money. So I think the biggest thing we can do is stop the crime. We're going to stop the crime. We have to let people feel free and be able to walk outside and not even think about being mugged or hit or shot or anything. And, one of the examples, I see the love in this church. It's incredible what you've done. You've done an incredible job. I would like to ask if you could final out with a prayer. Is that okay? I don't want to get you by surprise here, because this was not... But I've heard so much about you and so many great things, and it's such an honor to be here. It's such an incredible honor. And with so many of my friends that are political leaders that are really going places, and he is on the list, by the way, and I don't know if he's going to make it, but he's on a list of a few people, right? Not too many people. Would you like to be VP?
Look at the way that he talks. I mean, the people love him. The people love him. And Democrats are going to be like, no, he's hated. He's absolutely hated. Folks, the Democrats suck at running the country. They suck at running their states. Shit, another beloved fast food chain is leaving California because the Californian Democrats suck at running the state. We said it was going to happen, and here it is. Crime is through the roof in California. Immigration's through the roof in California. Homeless is through the roof in California. Gang violence is through the roof in California. You got the homeless crisis happening in California. And now a beloved fast food chain closes. Folks, they're closing 48 stores. So a beloved Mexican food chain shuttered 4 dozen locations. 4 dozen locations because of the rising cost of doing business in the state. Just 2 months after Gavin Newsom imposed a $20 minimum wage. Just lovely. And Democrats go, great idea. Yeah, no, go. I don't work in fast food. Yeah, go do it. It's going to be a matter of time before either the businesses leave and they'll go to other states and they'll flourish there. And then you are carving out the state of California, basically. So Rubio's Coastal Grill, known for its fish tacos, closed 48 underperforming stores in the Golden State as of May 31st, while keeping 86 stores in California, Arizona, Nevada open. So notice, not 86 stores in California. It's spread over many states because it's tough to do business here. And you know what they tend to do in these articles? Is they tend to sit there and go, well, the business was underperforming, it wasn't doing well. And then like 47 paragraphs below, they kind of acknowledge, oh, it was the crime, it was a smash and grabs, there's people defecating in our front doorstep. People don't exactly want to step over hot diarrhea to go get a freaking, beans and rice after they just saw basically something that looked like beans and rice that they had to step over to get into the restaurant. Like, go figure that people don't want to sit there and be harassed by homeless people. It's already terrible enough that they're asking you for money and you don't have that much yourself because of Bidenomics. And so, you're just trying to go get a freaking bean and rice burrito and looking at bean and rice burrito sitting on the ground that came out of some homeless guy's ass. So nobody wants that. And Democrats are like, well, why wouldn't you want it, you bigot? Why wouldn't you want more homeless, you sycophant, right? You don't sit there and want to help people. You don't want to sit there, like, it's all this freaking crap. And you know what? Democrats are going to continue to destroy the state. I still live here. Many of you go like, Brad, you got to get out of the state. Yeah, give me some options. Give me some options. Where do we go? Do we go to Texas? Texas, I don't know. Do I go to Idaho? Florida? We get the show big enough. We can do it. The show is really the only gateway, folks, of getting out of California. And look, I think the show could be there. You guys think the show could be there? You think the show could be big enough? We'll see. But state of California is carving itself out. More businesses are fleeing and shutting down because of, yes, the minimum wage law, but also because of the crime. And that was the connection to what Donald Trump was talking about is in Detroit, Michigan, You got to get rid of the crime so people want to move back into your state. It's a big investment to move a business in there. But when you got crime happening, people don't want to sit there and invest because of the freaking liability that's there. Speaking of this, in other places like Philadelphia, which is Democrat ran, you got these employees of this coffee house voted to unionize. Now, just if you had to guess, what do you think happened to these people that wanted to unionize? In the same way that when minimum wage goes through the roof, what do you think happens to businesses? You just saw it. They close down. Correct. Here we go.
You can't hide. We all see your greedy side.
Former employees of OCF Coffee House rallied outside of the now closed Fairmount Cafe on Tuesday.
We've been paid really bad wages, and this was our attempt to get better wages and make the place that we love better.
The coffee shops are owned by OCF Realty. The real estate brokerage announced the closures to employees in an email, which included 2 other locations in South.
Well, I want to see their signs. We want OCF, organized coffee forever. I'm sticking to the union, organized coffee forever. Well, you're complaining about your wages before. How's not getting paid anything?
Email, which included 2 other locations in South Philly. Workers like Alex Simpson say they were shocked.
I am pretty crushed, especially when it's such a blatant response to our union process. This comes a week after we publicly announced our union.
There's no thought. I'm telling you, with some of these people, there's no thought process. Yeah, $20 minimum wage. Oh, great, cool. Well, now you don't have a job because the minimum wage, the outcome of it is always zero. At some point or another, that business is going to find other ways of limiting the amount of labor that goes into a product so the product can be affordable to the people that want to buy it rather than passing that cost on to the customer. And so it's either, hey, getting rid of your job or closing down the restaurant altogether because it can't keep passing on the cost to the customer because the customer is going to go and compete with somebody else in terms of their I don't know how you call it. They're not going to compete, but you understand what I mean. They're going to go to somebody else to buy a burger that's cheaper. I mean, the state of California, a burger is 1/3 of the cost is labor. It's crazy. These people are idiots. People are idiots. So what are they doing about this crime then? What are they doing about trying to solve this whole problem of minimum wage increases, businesses fleeing? How are they going to sit there and solve this massive issue? Well, Montgomery, Maryland, Montgomery County specifically, in an effort to combat the 300% spike in youth crime, what are they doing? They're not arresting these people. No. You guys got to stick around for this. I'm telling you, it's crazy. 300% increase in youth crime. So rather than arresting these kids, throwing them in juvie or whatever, no. They're going to give them free stuff.
That's right. Good morning, Robert. Here in Tacoma Park, if police catch your child this summer in the act, they might get a ticket. The Operation Chill program is now underway, but take a look at the citation closely. It's a free Slurpee. This is an innovative way the police department here is aiming to reduce crime and build rapport between the youth and cops. Anytime an officer sees a child making a good decision, being kind or doing the right thing, they will issue a ticket locally. There has been a sharp increase in juvenile crime, and crime here in Tacoma Park has increased last year due to social issues, drugs, and changes in laws affecting juveniles, according to Police Chief Antonio Duvall. MCPD data shows since 2022, the number of juveniles arrested for violent crimes has risen in the county by more than 300%. From FY22 to 23, the number of juvenile violent crime suspects increased by 178%, and the number of young victims also rose in the county by more than 200%.
They do the same thing in the school system. When I was at a public school, there's a lot of disruptive behavior in the classroom, and I promise I'll connect it to this. And so you go to your administrators, the principal, assistant principal, school counselors, and say, hey, you know what, this kid's, causing massive ruckus in the classroom. You literally can't physically actually teach, and they're ruining the environment for 35 other students because you have 36 students in the classroom. Well, okay, hey, you know what, if he does something good, we'll buy him In-N-Out. This is not a joke. This is not satire. This is the exact thing. We'll buy him In-N-Out. Oh, we'll get him Panda Express. We'll get him whatever he wants. Just relay this information to him that if he acts good, then we'll get him In-N-Out and everything else. So rather than removing the kid from the classroom, because he's ruining everybody else's learning experience to the point where you can't teach and their grades are suffering. We're going to sit there and incentivize good behavior by giving them In-N-Out, even though he doesn't give two shits about In-N-Out or Panda Express. He just wants to sit there and be disruptive in the classroom because he thinks it's funny and that he's screwing everybody else's education over. So that's how things work out. In the same way here, well, let's not actually remove these kids from society and put them behind bars. Let's give them free Slurpees, even though they don't give two shits about free Slurpees. They care about committing crime, which is why they're committing the crime. And so you sit there and see some kid sitting on the sidewalk acting good, even though he's about to commit a crime. Well, here's a free Slurpee. Go commit the crime and get your free Slurpee at the same time. Like, as if they already aren't getting free Slurpees from the crimes that they're already committing. These people are idiots. They're asking for lip balm. I gotta feed my family. Then why are you stealing trash bags? People are idiots. I'm telling you, Democrats have no idea how to run a country. They have no idea how to run a locality. They have no idea how to run anything. And that's why, we have the issues that we have now. Well, I wanted to give you some updates here really quick. One of them, again, this keeps getting thrown under the rug. It keeps getting thrown under the rug. Did you guys know Vladimir Putin put terms for a peace deal up? Did you guys know this is the second time this dude has put forward a peace deal to sit there and stop this and create a ceasefire going on in Ukraine, which would help us out because we don't have to spend billions of dollars, and maybe we could spend billions of dollars in, rebuilding our subway systems that look god-awful. I know I'm going on a random tangent here, but there's some people posting on TikTok and Instagram that were coming from different countries, like China, and going, why is it I'm going from China or Singapore or another country, and their airport terminals are fucking amazing, and they come to ours and they go, and it looks like dog shit. They were flying into LAX, and LAX looks like crap, like ghetto as hell. How are we the most wealthy country in the world? And we have Trump talked about this, right? In 2016, this is one of the things he campaigned on. Like, how do we have the worst airports and infrastructure of any country out there? We're the most wealthy. Why? Because we send all our money everywhere else. Because we're second-class citizens in our own country. We take care of everybody else before we even take care of ourselves. So Putin outlines terms for a peace deal with Ukraine. Now, I don't like the peace deal itself. I'm not a fan of what exactly is being stated here. So during a televised address, he gave his what he thinks. So Ukrainian troops must withdraw from the entire territory of the new Russian regions. Notice he said that, the new Russian regions. Basically, that's the regions that are in Ukraine, and he wants to capitalize on what territory he's basically taken over, which I said was going to happen, right? The whole objective here originally was that, hey, we'll give a bunch of munitions to Ukraine, take over some territory, or take territory back, rather, and then when you have that territory and you're able to hold it down, utilize that territory that you capitalized on in terms of negotiations. But Putin here has done the reversal of what the Ukrainians should have done in terms of creating a ceasefire. So Kiev must declare there are no plans to join NATO. That's not going to happen. As soon as Ukraine takes these steps, Russia will cease fire and be ready to negotiate. Notice that, though. Ready to negotiate. So the negotiation process was kind of already here. But the problem is that you don't know what you're going to get out of the negotiation. So this is not a good move, and something I personally don't think should be taken, because not only is the Russian groups or Russian military going to take over those territorial areas, but then you also have a commitment not to join NATO. But then say the negotiations don't work out. Well, you've already taken over the territory. You've already given it up before the negotiations have even started. Meaning, say you have to go back to war now because the ceasefire is over. Well, now you got to reclaim those territories that you just gave up. So it's not a good tactic. It's not a good look. It's not going to happen. I don't think it should, quite frankly. And I'm not a big fan of the Ukrainian-Russian war at all. We need our billions of dollars here. There's people actually suffering. But, we're going to continue to throw money everywhere else. Like the Gaza Pier here. I don't know if you guys saw this one. The Gaza Pier. Joe Biden spent $320 million. And it didn't work, and it broke twice. God, we throw money everywhere, man. I'm a conservative. I've always said this. I'm a fiscal conservative, to be specific. I am a registered Republican, but I'm a fiscal conservative. And that was one of my main problems with Donald Trump in 2016 was his spending. And I know the spending is going to go through the roof again. And it's going to freaking piss me off. You guys, I always want to be clear with you. I'm not beholden to a corporation. I'm not beholden to anybody except, myself and the Lord. But I'm always going to be honest with you. And so you're going to see if Donald Trump gets elected, and I hope he does, just because he's president and we love him doesn't mean he doesn't do asinine things and say asinine things. So just to give you a heads up, if he becomes president, We'll hound him here on the show, too, if he does something stupid. Most of it's going to be us going after the media and the Democrat Party for still doing their idiotic things, but that doesn't mean that Donald Trump isn't going to say things and do things I don't like. The Pier, which estimates have cost upwards of $320 million, light last month after it fell apart. God, don't we just look weak? Joe Biden makes us look weak, and then he's making our military look weak by, we can't even build a fucking pier. We can't build a pier in 2024. And then furthermore, you got a bunch of men dressed as women parading around in front of cameras for our military. Have we ever looked more freaking out of whack? Today, due to high expected seas, or expected high seas, the temporary pier will be removed from its anchored position in Gaza. Does that look anchored? Oh, it's anchored, guys. It's there. Oh, no. It's so not only did we have to remove it to get repaired, and it was $320 million, but they wanted to put it back. But when they put it back, they had to sit there and relocate it because of the seas anyways. So here's what a little bit of that pier looked like. Look at this thing. Holy lordy. Look at the porta potties. Hopefully nobody's in there. Can you imagine? Like, holy shit, this is what's happening. You guys told me it was okay. Oh. Holy lordy. Well, we had to end the show off with a banger. Folks, always appreciate hanging out with you each and every day. Remember, during summer, these next 5 weeks, we are going live every morning, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on the Bald Brad channel. We'll also upload content throughout the day, but please always support us by not only hitting that like and subscribe button, leave us a comment down below, but watching our videos all the way through. That is the best way you could possibly help us. If you want to support us in advertising to try to get around the shenanigans of YouTube, well, you can sit there and join us. We have a membership, 99 cents a month for the Bald Brad Army, $4.99 for, I think, American Patriot, and then $9.99 if you want to go Super Saiyan, folks. A lot of options for you to support the show. We have merchandise at baldbrad.com, a lot of fun stuff. And I will see you tomorrow here with hopefully some good news on the Bald Brad Show.